back to the prop shop. In my other tutorial videos, you probably had saw how I had turned this plastic crown into a metal crown. I'm going to tell you what we're going to be using that for. It's right in this box. Before I do that, I wanted to show you these. For $4, I had found this plastic Halloween garland set, and these skeletons just rock my world. And if you don't believe it, I'm going to be using the chain as well for this. What are we making today? Well, let me pull this out of the box first to let you see what we're doing. For $20, I had purchased this polyresin skull. And it still looks plastic. How awesome is this going to look? We are going to be creating a saints box where we're having pieces of saints, as they do in the Catholic Church, in a glass box. For those of you who are into really gothy stuff like I am, this is going to be a really great tutorial video. We are going to take this plastic resin skull and we are going to age it and make it look very saintly. And then we're going to be setting this in velvet inside of its own case. So let's start the darkening and the aging process and making this look like it's bone. The first part of aging any process materials that we're going to be using, an Alpha Black 999 tonight. I'm using a very fine tipped brush here. It's 2 or 3, but we want to go in. I want to paint each and every space in between every one of these teeth. I want them to stand out individualistically so they're going to pop when we do the photo shoot. That's nasty. I like it already. Don't forget to brush your teeth, kids. You can just see how those are popping already. Makes a big difference. Then I'm going to do all the bottom ones in here, and then after that we're going to work on the nose and the eyes. Now I'm using a 1/2 inch brush with our black, still creating the slurry, and I'm darkening very, very lightly inside the eyes. I did 1 coat already. Don't want to destroy too much of it. You don't want to create an absolute jet black area because that will destroy this looking like bone. We don't want that. We want to have that look fairly realistic. I'm going inside of these grooves too. Up on the side over here, aging that. Working down here, down below. That looks good. Working that right into the bone. We are going to age this. You see my other tutorial videos on how to age bone. I actually did a 2-headed baby skeleton from a freak show. And came out really nice, actually. What we are doing now is we are emphasizing the areas that would be raised and areas that would be recessed. Let's do the other side. What I'm doing now is I'm using the brush as a sponge, pulling out excess that I don't want. In there. And So I had done the complete back of the whole skull, adding darkness and smudges. Like if people have touched this for centuries, which is kind of what you want, that dirtiness. And now let's do the ultimate aging. Let's make this look like it's 150 plus years old, and we're going to use actually a burnt umber. The coolest thing about burnt umber is that it just creates the illusion that things are stained or aged. Technique is layeration, moving color to where we think it should go. At present, I'm staying away from the teeth because I want to do those another shade of umber. I'm just basically using water in the slurry. Just doing it layer by layer. Okay. Now, I'm going to get a bit of towel that I've used previously. Start deducting that. Okay, let's start working into the teeth. Yellow ochre. This is a 551. This is the color we want to use. A very small dot of that we're going to be using. And no, I'm going to be using here. Be using number 0 royal and lang nickel. I'm just using my finger now to smudge that color in. Staining, we're staining that. Now that we've gotten this far, let's let this dry and see how much more aging we want to create. There's sanctum sanctorum. Yes, so now we've got our skull prepped up, and then we want to have it put in a shrine. So what did I do? Got me a shrine. So basically we're going to take this box and we're going to transform it. Now the thing is that it's wide here. It's the right height to show off the skull, but we need to cut and bring this in. Let's do it. That was easy. All I did was I cut one side down, measured it 12 inches across, it's 15 inches this way, and just moved the side in and taped it up. So this is the beginning of our shrine, making the box the right size. Our next part that we want to do on the shrine now is we're going to cut the windows to the shrine. We're going to cut actually 3 sides. We want to have one side that is completely stable. So basically I'm thinking about using the piece that we had to tape on there as the back, since it's the weakest piece. These would be the most structurally stable. So I'm going to mark out here now the windows, and let's cut them out. Once you get all your plastic surgery lines cut out here, actually I had originally measured this over here and thought, well, that's a little bit too thick. So I crossed it off and moved it back 1 centimeter on 4 sides. So let's cut this out. This is the back here over here, so we're going to cut 3 windows today. Like a hot knife through butter. We used a Echo blade and we sliced that right out. You can see the beginning of our shrine. And let's put our skull in here and see what it's going to look like. One of the coolest things I like about making props is the visionary work that you come into it. So that is what it's going to look like. We've got it in its own shrine like this. We're going to add velvet to this, put this in here. The next step we're going to do, we're going to take the skull out. We're going to paint the whole entire box black.
Okay. Pick that bad boy up.
That went on very easily. Once we get our box completely sprayed with black, I'm using a black tape here, and I'm going to go over the edges of our box. I'm going to make every part that we had cut out like it's solid. Nice edge we need to create here. So let's finish that completely around. Once we got all our edges of our cardboard sealed up, now it's time to start creating the metal finish. So let's get our acrylic paints out and let's start making this into a metal box. Today's color choices are going to be an acrylic alpha silver number 995, and we're also using an acrylic black. So this is a 999. So we're going to start blending our black into our silver today to create the perfect metal finish that we want to put on our box. Here, using a 1-inch, and I'm going to be working in the silver into the black. As you can see, the black is very thick and solidified. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Right there. This silver black. And we are not going to be using the 1-inch brush. We're going to be using several different types of fan brushes, and we're going to be using an X motion to apply that to our cardboard. Okay, right now I'm using a number 4 fan brush, and I want to layer that up. This is all dry, there's no water whatsoever being used here. And I'm going to start creating my X's over, just letting some of the black come through. We want to replicate this exact pattern on all sides of our box using the fan brush, making sure we have lines and black coming through. Once you get your box completely coated with the first layer of paint, we're going to mix now a lighter silver and white mixture. Again, we're going to dry brush that directly over what we've already brushed. We're going to try to miss areas so there's more of that metal look. So my mixture here on this here is an Alpha Shield White number 601 mixing, and we're going to go back into our silver again. I'm using the 995. I'm going to actually do two parts silver, 1 part white. Mix that in. Okay. With a nice softer, cleaner fan brush, we're going to now go into this, load up our brush. Okay, we're going to start dragging that across. Again, now using the same style of Xing. We're going to work that completely across all parts of our metal finish. It looks cooler when it's from a distance. Okay, so let me do the whole entire box and show you what it looks like. Once you get that paint in there, it should start looking like that. Okay, it looks really cool from a distance. Up close, it just looks like brush strokes. But once we start putting the material inside here, it's going to look really, really cool. Okay, so now let's start building the upper deck part. The top part of our shrine needs to be stacked up. So basically, I went out and I found some foam and a smaller box that goes on top of this, and we want to create the steps and stairs that are going to build the top part of the shrine. Now, the very important part is you got to make sure that these things are lightweight. This box is a little bit heavy. It's a box that we found out in the recycle, but you can do all kinds of cool stuff. If you wanted to put 4 pieces in there and raise that up, you know, and make a secondary area, so there's kind of, you know, something you can put in there. Just use your imagination and look at what shrines actually look like, because they're filled with mystery and wonder. And I think that if we could put actually 4 pieces in there and a top piece, that'd be pretty cool. Or we can use this as a base piece and then cut this smaller, so we have a smaller section, and then put maybe the base up here. We have so many different options. So the first thing we need to do is paint all of these black. Now you got to remember, you cannot use spray paint on styrofoam. It will melt. The cardboard box is okay, you can spray that black, but we need to use our acrylic $9.99 on our foam. So let's paint our foam, and why not do our box? So yesterday, finishing up my project, I said I was going to paint these black. I was going to do this black. The problem is that this box is actually too heavy, and the other problem is that, well, the sides are too porous. So basically, I want to keep these, and we're going to use tape to make a nice edge on that. So I just finished taping them together, and then I put the 2 pieces on there with the tape around the center, and then I ran my fingernail around that to make a groove. Look at that, we got a line in the center. That is going to be a lightweight alternative to layer number 1. Another cool element of design on our shrine is I found these large Lego pieces that were thrown away. And just using your imagination and putting stuff together and creating props that really are customized to your imagination, to what you want to do, that would be great. Now I can add some other materials to keep building this up to create like a pyramid style. To keep this thing going, I had a shoebox lid that I had cut and folded under, taped over, and this will be layer number 3. And for the next level of our saint's shrine, I have 4 pieces of foam tubing that I have used over here, styrofoam tubing. This is soft. It's been bent up because it was in storage for such a long time, but we're going to make every one of these marbleized. So if you haven't seen my tutorial video on doing faux marbling, this is a good time to review that. We're going to make these look like pillars. We're going to put them on here, and then we're going to do this up as the next layer. So this is going to be raised, this is going to be underneath this, and then we're going to put the 4 skeletons around the corner of our saint's shrine. So our choice of colors today is a Naples yellow number 6. We're mixing that in with a 600 white acrylic, and also going to be using a 38 black, and we might just actually put some gold through this. But first layer we're going to do is we're going to mix the white and the Naples together to make the columns. So let's use about 1 dab of maples. Move into, we'll do 3 parts white. And let's blend those together. We're looking for an Italian marble. You can see the paint is actually solidified from being open so long. Note that is still a little bit too yellow for me. So let's bring this down. Looks like we're going to the supply store for some new whites very soon. And let's see, do I even have my mixing spatula? No, I do not. But that's okay. Because what do you know? I do. That is a solidified piece. Let's take that right out. There. This is the color I'm looking for right here. This is very, 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 very light, pale color, cream color. So we're going to mix up enough of that, and we're going to paint all 4 of our columns. So let's do that right now. So once we got our 4 columns completely painted up and dry, and I've got them over here on the styro thing, we're going to start the marbling effect of this. So let's marble these up. Now that we've got our marble pieces done, we've got our second layer, let's assemble it. What I'm doing right now is I'm driving toothpicks into the foam, and I'm driving the columns over the toothpicks. Today I went out and I bought 2 plastic, I don't know which one to call these, kind of a garland material. I want to add this to our shrine for around the outer parts, and then these, I'm not sure if that's like a flower or something, but I love it. So I'm going to cut these out and hot glue these to wherever I think should be a raised metal piece. And then I wanted to show that I had purchased some more fake pearls to add. I want to show you what I'm doing with them. Is I had made this last night using some glue, just some white glue, and some diamonds and pearls that I had left over from our Tudor and Edwardian shoot that we had done about 2 seasons ago. And I like that the 4 corners that we made, the Lego piece, I added the pearl and also the diamond. I'm not sure if I want to make this gold or I want to do that black, but regardless, we're going to age all this stuff, so let's do that. And yesterday I had made up these little pieces that were going to go on the edges of our shrine, and I painted them all black. I got these great diadem plastic gemstones, which we'll place here. We'll put some feel of clay, we'll add that. Then we're going to add some gold and some other types of scrolling on these, so that's what they're going to look like. So I used my shears and cut them down. I took off all of the rope from the rose shaped one. I laid these out in about 1 foot sections. What we're going to do now is we're going to put a wash over this silver. So basically we're going to be using an alpha acrylic black 999, and we're going to stain this silver and make it look old. So let's do that. I know someone else is going to ask, how do you corrode them? How do you do that? How do you do a wash? You just put about 1 inch worth of black out, and you're going to use a water to get that corroded in there. So basically you're putting the black on. Don't have to be perfectly consistent, you can just slap it on there, but you're going to do all of your pieces like this. And the same goes with your roses. You're just going to put that black on there. Don't be afraid, slap it on there. Just let the water do its job. That's what it's all about. It's going to stain. It's going to make that plastic look more like it's metal. So we want to do this to all of our pieces today, and then we want to let them dry. Don't put this under a hairdryer. I usually use a hairdryer for speeding up things to work on them faster. In this case, don't. Actually, just let the water and the color pool and let it dry naturally, because the hairdryer will blow that right off there and you have to start all over again. One of the best parts about building the shrine was this is the month of October, so Halloween was here and very, very handy. What I had found was at our supply store, there was these little skeletons, and there's four of them that were on a garland that you put over your doorway. And I thought, this is exactly what I want to use. We're going to paint them silver. We're going to use an acrylic Alpha 995, and then we're going to use our antique wash on them to make them look like they've been corroded. Our first layer of silver, now they're drying, and then we're going to mix up a black number 999 Alpha, and we're going to make a slurry, and then we're going to put that over that to age them. Once you get your skeletons or whatever you want to do up, you're correctly ready. This one's still a little bit wet here, but that's okay, because we're just going to use a soft brush, and we're going to go in and apply a coat of black on them to age them the correct way that we want them to be done here. So let's do that. Just like we had done the garland, the silver garland pieces, same way. You just want to add this over all of the skeleton. Water that down. It'll be just fine. And see how it pools into the crevices and cracks, and that's what we want it to look like. And that's one done. And we're going to do all four of them the same way. Okay, these skeletons came out awesome. We corroded them, so now what we're going to do is we're going to hot glue them on our shrine. A little bit more at the shrine now in detail. We've got all of the silver on there, and then we get to the second layer, and I added the chain to the piece, and the only thing that's missing now is the third layer, and let's talk about that. And in the final part of our shrine, I had to build this topper. The topper is nothing more than a children's Halloween crown, plastic that had been cut into 4 pieces and then created to make a box. I hot glued that together. This needs to be antiqued made old. Then I had put it on a children's set of wagon wheels that were made out of styrofoam like this. I put 2 of them together and painted them black. Encircled them with a plastic emblem chain that I had aged. Put that around there, and then on the base is nothing more than a styrofoam block that is 1/4 of an inch smaller than the original piece. So this is our lineup. This is the final piece. We need to hot glue this together and then age this and then put that on. I'm using a black 999 with a bit of water. I'm going to dirty everything up. This is going to age everything, your pearls, your gemstones, everything. Dirty and age them. Once you get that dirt on it, let that black pool and color this in really well. So this is going to add quite a bit of mystery to the shrine that you're making. Now that we have our top on there as our crowning piece, all we have to do now is age the box completely and add our interior velvet. Here she is. Now once we get our velvet in place, the shrine has that saintly feeling to it. Now the one thing that we can do on top of this, if you want to now, you can put a piece of PVC overhead projector plastic over there. I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. Just cut to size. PVC plastic, you can get this at any commercial store that sells it, any art supply stores. Just cutting it to size, just placing it in there will create the effect of glass. Now once you have this, you can do all 4 sides, and you want to
age this up, spot this up or something, but mostly in the church they'd keep that kind of clean. That is our saint's shrine. You can actually see me reflected in the artificial glass.